Hi everyone! Do you notice anything different? Why yes, I am growing my hair out. Thanks for noticing. No, but seriously, we have moved. This is a new house. We have been here just under a month. Has it been a month? Yeah, no, not quite a month yet. So we are getting settled in. I haven't decided if this is my new filming location. It feels to me like it might be kind of echoey. I guess I won't know until I go to edit this video. So apologies if it's echoey. I'll try some different spots around the house as I get back into making videos now that we are all moved in and settled in. This was a big move for us. We purchased our first house. If any of you have been following along the story and the trials and tribulations of us trying to build a house, that is a story for a different day. Clearly, we did not build this house that quickly. We ended up buying a house for many reasons, and I think that's a story time for another video. But we are here, and I wanted to share with you our experience of moving to this house because we downsized. We went from a 2-bedroom, just under 1,300 square foot house down to a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1,000 square foot house. But really, it's not just about kind of the square footage of it. It was really about the fact that we went down to 1 bedroom, and this is an old house. It was built in the 1950s, and it has 1 closet, just 1. And we moved from a house that had 5 closets. And on top of all of that, we bought this house furnished. So this house was an Airbnb here in the high desert in Southern California. And so got sold as is with everything inside. So when I say furnished, I don't just mean like the furniture. It also came with like all of the forks and spoons and glasses and like everything came with the house. It was being sold with everything. So this downsizing for us was not just about us having to have less of our own things. It was also having to then deal with having a huge influx of new things come into our lives. It was a nightmare. It was a complete nightmare for me. I will say that I love the furnishings in this house, and I am happy that we came into it furnished. It feels very cozy. I like the style of it. It's very much my style. I am happy that the house came furnished, but it was a real thing to go through. So in today's video, I just wanted to share with you my experience of downsizing and how that went for me as a minimalist and some of the things I learned along the way. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing that I learned through this downsizing process was how I feel about how much stuff I have is relative to how much space I have, right? So when I looked in my closet and said, oh yeah, I don't have a lot of clothes, like there's a lot of space in this closet. And then I moved it into the single closet we have here that also needs to house all of my husband's clothes and everything else that we own. It now feels like I have too many clothes, right? Because they don't fit in the space. I have to like squeeze everything in. In the house that we moved from, everything fit very comfortably. There was a lot of space, and so it didn't have that cluttered feeling to it. Versus here, because we have so much less space, I feel again like I have too much stuff, but I already felt like I was in a place where I only had the things that I needed. So for me to feel like I had to declutter things was really hard. And I still need to declutter things in my opinion, because things like I'm squishing things in drawers, like I just don't have like the breathing room that I did in the other house. And so I'm feeling like I have to reevaluate everything that I have. So when you feel like you already have the right amount of stuff and then you put it in a smaller space, what the right amount is all relative. So the second thing that I learned is really about sort of partnership and minimalism. And what this really revealed to me is that my partner and I have a different view on minimalism. He is absolutely on board with minimalism. I feel really lucky that he has a similar value system as I do when it comes to that. But the difference came in inheriting all of this stuff in the sale of the house. Because to me, I was like, well, in our old house, we already had everything that we needed. So if we came into this house and had more stuff, we don't need it. But his idea was like, well, if we just got 52 free glasses, which by the way, this kitchen had 52 glasses in it as an Airbnb. But he was like, but it's free. Like it's already here. Why wouldn't we keep it all? Because we got it for free. And I was like, well, first of all, it wasn't free. it was included in the price of the house. But second of all, I was like, if we've lived this long with, the 8 glasses we have, or I don't even know, however many glasses we had, why do we then need to add 52 more to it? And so like we were sort of like butting heads a lot about like what to keep and what to sell and donate and give away, because I'm very much sitting in the minimalist mindset of like only keeping things that we need or add value or bring joy. And he's very much in like, well, if they're already here, I mean, we might as well keep it. So there was a lot of compromise and there was a lot of conversation, and it was really hard. And I still feel like we're settling in a little bit. We don't know, I think, everything that we're gonna end up keeping or swapping out or whatever, because we just wanna live in the space for a little while to figure out sort of like how we're using it. But it was a lot of conversation and it was a lot of work. The next thing that I learned in this downsizing process is that I am less of a minimalist than I thought. If you looked at our old house, and there's old house tours if you want to go back and watch one of them, I very much looked at that house and was like, this house is almost empty. When we went to go move, I was like, we need a whole ass moving truck. It's funny because I think the way that I'm a minimalist is very much like I will organize things and like put them behind doors. And so like you don't see a lot of clutter. Like I have a lot of open surfaces, but I still do have a lot of stuff, and it was really eye-opening for me. Like how much we had to move from one house to another, and we ended up getting a bigger moving truck than I even thought we were gonna need, and we filled it up. And it brought up a lot for me. It was really stressful to see all of your things sort of like pushed out of one house and pulled into another house. It just is like, I don't know, it's like almost anxiety producing to me because it's so much stuff. And it made me think back to like the times when we were living in the van and how much stuff we've accumulated over the 4 years since we moved out of the van. It's an incredible amount of stuff. And so it's really making me sort of reevaluate what I actually have. And the other side of that is that moving into a fully furnished house, this house has a lot more stuff in it. It has a lot more on the walls. We've put some more stuff on the walls, and it's making me realize that I actually like more stuff than I thought that I did. In the old house, like every surface was clear. We didn't really have anything hanging on the walls. And that was mostly because that was a rental. I didn't want to like put a lot of energy or money into like purchasing artwork or anything like that. So like this house is just a little bit more settled because we purchased it. We're planning on living here for a while. But I also just like the coziness of having a bit more stuff. And I've brought out some things that I've been holding on to for a number of years, things that have been from my family, from my grandmother, my aunt and uncle, like things that have been packed away for a long time. And I finally feel like I want those things kind of out and about in my house. And that is surprising to me. It's surprising to me how much I'm enjoying having decor around, how much I'm enjoying having a couple knickknacks and things around. It's been a long time. It's been since before I even discovered minimalism was a thing that I've really had any decor in my house. Because we did a huge clean out, and then we moved into a van, and then we moved into this last house we were in that had barely anything. So I feel like this has allowed me to rediscover my style a little bit for my home, and it's been kind of fun. But, I'm surprised. I'm surprised how much stuff I want sort of out and how much I am appreciating decor. The next thing that I learned about downsizing was it's easiest to not do it all at once. If you find yourself in a situation where you're going into a smaller living space, the best thing that we did was to take a couple weeks to do it. So we were lucky enough to have an overlap where we had our rental for almost 3 weeks when we were also already closed on this house. And so I started bringing stuff over really slowly. And I started in the way where it was like the most important things that I knew we were definitely going to take with us, I would bring first and make sure that those had a home first before I would bring some of the things that maybe I could see myself decluttering, so that I filled it with the most important things. And that could be important in function or important in the way of like the things that we absolutely love and would never get rid of. Finding homes for all of those things first, as well as finding homes for the biggest things first. And so then we could sort of fill in around that or declutter those things that were in the rental house. So that was really helpful to kind of have the luxury to do it a little bit more slowly. I think I would have been much more overwhelmed and this whole process would have been harder if we had to move like all in one day and we just shoved everything into this place. So slow and steady was definitely the key. And sort of related to that, the next thing that I learned was to declutter slowly. I'm so used to like doing these big declutters where I just like get rid of everything all at once. I like doing that. That feels good to me. But we wanted to be careful about this because we wanted to live in the space. We wanted to understand how we were using it, see what we liked, see what we were using before we really got rid of stuff. There were some things that were obvious, like we didn't need to keep all the silverware that was here or all the pots and pans that were here. There was some decor in here that I just was like, don't like. So some things were obvious, but we're holding on to a lot of stuff until we really feel like the space is lived in and we understand how it's working for us. So it's a little bit of a nightmare for me because we have all this stuff hanging out. We have a lot of things that don't like really have homes yet. They're just kind of sitting around, which is like my complete nightmare. But it feels like to really be intentional about this, we have to go slow. So overall, I would say this is the hardest move I've ever done. Downsizing is no joke. It's really hard. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of thoughtfulness. It takes a lot of intention. And it also takes a lot of reflection. You know, to think that I came from a house where I felt like, oh, I really don't have a lot of stuff, to filling up an entire moving truck. It really forced me to be honest with myself about how much stuff I really had. Anyways, I'm looking forward to sharing more of this house with you. I'm looking forward to doing the house tour in my next video. We are currently in the process of building a shed outside. As you can imagine, we have a ton of outdoor gear. Murphy's got a ton of tools that don't have a home right now. So we're working on making this work. Anyways, it was good to see you all. Thank you for being here. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.